Okay, I liked how you were like, and we're professional beach volleyballs. We are volleyballs.
Can there be a blooper reel?
Hello, I am Taryn Kloth, and
I am Kristen Nuss, and we are professional beach volleyball players, and today we'll be playing 20 questions.
Question number 1, Kristen. In 30 seconds or less, describe last year and this year on tour so far. Good luck.
Oh my gosh, wild.
30 seconds?
Oh gosh, insane. I don't actually know how to describe it because we have been on a whirlwind and it's been incredible. That's all I got.
That was pretty good.
What drives you more, love to win or hate to lose?
Hate to lose, easy, and I already know that is yours too.
Yeah.
We do not like to lose. Winning is obviously amazing, but just the anger that you have after losing, after putting so much time and effort into trying to win, is very frustrating.
That was a great answer. I 100% agree. I hate losing.
Yes, she does. This year, you started playing in the FIVB. What was the hardest transition to international play?
Oh gosh. I think the mindset of going into every game, you're playing like top level people. Whereas like in college, it's kind of just like collegiate players, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm playing people who played in the Olympics.
What about the transition to the different international beach volleyball?
Ooh. Mikasa ball is very different than Wilson balls, a lot more airier, and they just float and do whatever. So it was our first practice was very interesting, trying to pass those balls or hit those balls.
We shanked a lot of balls the first day.
Oh, we kind of answered that. Question is, how different are the Mikasa, FIVB, and Wilson Optics AVP volleyballs to play with?
The Mikasas, so the international ball, they just float and drop, and they like almost hit a wall and then drop straight in front of you, and you kind of look like an idiot sometimes. And then the Wilsons, they're much more, like, as soon as they are on a path, you know that they're gonna go there. They're not just gonna drop or float as much.
Yeah. For those not in the know, explain the ranking system in FI. Oh, that's perfect. You're great at the ranking system. Go for it.
The ranking system for the FIVB is actually the ranking system that allows you to qualify for the Olympics. So the only way that you can get FIVB points is to qualify for tournaments, but if you have 0 points, you can't qualify for any of the FIVB tournaments. So it kind of is a two-sided thing that is very frustrating until you get in and then you're able to get points. There are 3 different levels, so it's the Future, Challenge, and then Elite 16s. And as you go up in each level, the max amount of points rises from, I think you get 400 for winning a Future, and then you get 800 for winning a challenge event, and then for winning an Elite 16, you get 1,200 points. So it really is huge. Now the thing that changed this year is there's no country quota, so as many American teams, if they have the points, they can get into the tournaments. And now it's only your best 3 out of your last 4 tournaments. So you really have to be very specific on which tournaments you play in and when, depending on how you finish. Is that good?
Snaps for you. Fantastic.
Kristen, you consistently tag food chronicles on your Instagram. Who is the bigger foodie?
Oh,
and who is the better cook?
Okay, I'm for sure the bigger foodie. I know I make you wait when taking pictures, but people love it. I have to give the people what they want. And who's the better cook? I'd say I cook breakfast better, but you for sure are like, in general, the better cook.
I agree.
You can like throw things together. I'm better at reheating things. Biggest hurdle from LSU/NCAA beach volleyball to professional. And I kind of touched on that too.
Yeah, so when you're in college, everything is kind of set up for you. So your practices, what tournaments you're gonna play with, in, and who you're gonna play with. The hotels are done, the flights are done, everything's done. And when you're a professional, it is all on you. You do not have a team or a coach that you can depend on to have all of that booked for you. So it's definitely more individualized, which also is a plus when you get to pick when you want to practice and how often and what your schedule is going to be day to day. Kristen, please describe Coach Drew Hamilton's coaching style.
I would say his coaching style is very specific and unique. Everything is very focused on very technical things, like how your platform needs to be positioned on this certain serve. So it's very technical driven. It's not necessarily,
He focuses on the minutia of beach volleyball, not just if you score but you do it in a wrong way, he's not going to be thrilled about it.
Yeah, for sure. Everything has a purpose. Let's say there's a reason for everything. And I feel like that's very different compared to other teams. I mean, I'm not fully sure how other teams practice or anything, but I don't think anyone is as specific in training as we are, or as he has trained us.
I would also add in there, I know this is your question, but he actually cares about you as a person. So he kind of understands it, opens up the conversation, like your bodies are dead today, so we're going to go light. Or he just has those open discussions so that it's easier for all of us to work together as a team versus it just being, he's coaching us and that's it. It's more of an open conversation.
We love coaching. What's the story behind your handshake/low five?
Should we show it to them?
We've gotten that question a lot.
Ding, ding. So, we started that in college, I think.
Yeah, we did.
And I don't really know, the first, like the low high five with the slap, I feel like that's pretty normal. But then we added the little ding at the end. So if Kristen does something well, then I do this and she gets to ding. If I do something well, then I get to ding.
And so it came about when, I think, like a lot of times, I feel like last year when I would like make a joke, sometimes I'd go like, but I'm like a little like drum. And that's kind of where it came from. So whoever did something good got to hit the cymbal.
It's also just kind of a way to relieve some of the stress, especially when we're playing and we're in the middle of a high stakes game. Like you gotta take the little things. If it's a great play or something happens, a little ding kind of gets you out of the nervousness.
It's kind of funny because we've gotten this question a lot and people are probably like, what the heck are they doing? But it's fun. This is me. You two have put Louisiana and South Dakota beach volleyball on the map. What impact, if any, do you think this may have on future of collegiate beach volleyball and the AVP looks like?
Louisiana has a ton of beach volleyball. There's so many complexes. There obviously isn't like a beach like California or Florida, but the norm is that if you're not from those two areas, Florida and California, you just don't play beach volleyball because you don't get all the training and there's not very many coaches and there's not very many players. We just really want to rewrite the script, as Kristen likes to say, and you shouldn't have to be born in a specific place to play a sport that you love. Are there any beaches in South Dakota? Absolutely not. But you can still play beach volleyball. There's lots of facilities to facilitate that. We hope that girls are not shy of achieving their goals and their dreams for a sport based on where their family decided to live.
I like that. Fantastic.
Kristen, what are your favorite places to play so far? Just this year. Just this year.
Okay. I feel like it's hard not to say Latvia because it was the most recent. But it was wild. I don't know. I would probably, I think Australia and Latvia were probably my favorite thus far as scenery and everything. But also playing in New Orleans, the New Orleans AVP was kind of a lot of fun playing in front of like all of home fans, and that was kind of a very unique experience. And obviously we didn't win, but it was still a lot of fun and the environment was awesome.
I feel like there's a piece from each place that we absolutely love, like the food in one place, the scenery in another place, and then if the weather sucks, it kind of completely impacts how your vacation is or how the beach volleyball is. So.
For sure. Do you have a like top favorite though?
The top? My favorite probably thus far is
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Australia.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
I just
feel like
really
it was
liked
just
it.
because the food was amazing.
I like the food, and then when the weather turned around, I just thought it was fun. I also love that I could understand everybody.
Yeah.
The language barrier sometimes can be an issue.
That's Google Translate. Gotta love it. Taryn, you transitioned from indoor to beach in college. What were the biggest challenges you had to overcome?
Challenges. So I get to pick lots because there are a lot. it's very frustrating transitioning from indoor to beach, especially when you're so used to it and you've never really played beach and you're completely outside of your comfort zone. I think the most embarrassing thing is when you just like fall in the sand because your legs are not there and you just like plop in the sand. It's kind of embarrassing, it happens sometimes. And then you just have to completely change your mindset because instead of having 6 people, there's only 2, so you have to take care of a lot more of the court. But yeah, everything kind of changes. You do have the same like passing, setting, hitting skills, but you have to change them to the beach game.
Yeah, indoor is different than beach.
Yeah.
100%.
And if you say any different, I challenge you to go do the other one.
Good luck, indoor people.
But beach helps indoor, indoor helps beach. I think playing both of them is a great advantage, and it makes you better in each one.
100% agree.
What has been the biggest challenge to navigate as professional athletes?
I think traveling everywhere and booking all of that and figuring out where we're gonna stay, what the currency is. There's so many things. I think I could go on and on. But we have learned a ton along the way. That is,
It's only been a couple months.
Yeah. And then kind of the like, besides playing, the like business side of things, as far as like being able to fund these trips and everything has kind of been wild. And we, again, same with volleyball, we have learned so much as far as like starting an LLC, starting a business, doing that, trying to fund all these trips. It's been kind of hectic, but wouldn't change a thing because it has been an awesome experience.
Definitely a learning experience.
What has been the biggest disappointment so far on tour?
Actually, I have an answer to this. Beach volleyball is kind of hectic and it's not well planned out, so we never know what's happening, and I feel like the communication between players and the people that are setting it up, I just feel like there's a lack of communication. I think that's the biggest disappointment because I feel like we missed out on some things or we did not understand some things from the beginning.
Yeah, that is true. We do oftentimes say like, man, why wasn't this like
Laid out.
put in print somewhere?
But it's hard to do that because most people play with somebody that's older, somebody that's more experienced, and they pick up the younger person, but we're both newbies, so those things that everybody just knows or they're unwritten rules, we don't because they're unwritten.
Yeah.
Kristen, what advice would you give to players looking to transition from indoor to beach volleyball? Do you want me to take this one?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna slide that one over to you. You got it.
Transitioning is going to be frustrating. It's going to make you very angry, and you just have to realize that you have to give yourself grace, which I know I didn't do all the time, but you just have to kind of take it one day at a time. And if you leave angry, but you're still excited to go get better, I think you made the right decision. Indoor to beach volleyball, you can do it for 1 year and you can decide that indoor is your true passion, and that's great, but also give beach volleyball a chance. In the beginning, I didn't really even give beach volleyball a chance because I wanted to do indoor. Like I knew that that's what I wanted to do after. Obviously I didn't know anything at the time, but I really, as soon as I went back to LSU after the COVID year, I poured everything I had into beach volleyball, and I think going all in makes you realize what you really want.
Yeah, I think it's going, like you have to know that you may not be great, but push through that and there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And find people that are willing to help you instead of people that get frustrated because you don't know how to do something right away, like a Kristen. This is my question for you because I answered the last one. What are your immediate goals? Like 2 to 4 years.
Paris, 2024.
What is that?
That's the Olympics, and we want gold. Also, so winning AVPs, that's for sure up there, and also winning an Elite 16, also at the top of the list.
World champs.
Yeah, next year.
Fun. What are your long-term goals?
Wow, I think just more.
10 years.
Yeah, that's wild. Who knows if I'll be playing beach volleyball then? But
Yes, we will be. We've discussed this.
Probably more of the immediate goals, just longer term. And hopefully in 10 years, the sport will look a little different and maybe it'll be even bigger. At what point did representing the USA in the Olympics turn from a dream into a realistic possibility in your minds? Wow.
I think once you say something out loud to a bunch of people, it makes your goal of like a private goal turn into something that you really want to achieve because you actually said it out loud. And I think that took me a while, especially just being so new to beach volleyball. I was like, is this even a possibility? I think we were in a tournament in Tennessee, and I think after that weekend we played together, it was kind of like a tipping point of this is what we want to do and we want to see how far we can take it. And obviously you can create as many goals, but you do have to put in so much work behind the scenes in order to make those goals happen. So a realistic possibility, honestly, not getting into FIVBs and having 0 points, I think was really, really tough and really weighing on us because that's how you make it to the Olympics. So I think once we started to get into those, I think it made it even more realistic.
Yeah, I think for me, it kind of happened actually I think 2 weeks ago when we were looking at our schedule and it was like, all right, what do we have coming up? Like November, December, end of the year. And then it was like January of next year starts Olympic qualifying. And I feel like for so long we were like, Olympics is so far away. Like we still have time. We still have time to get the points and everything. And all of a sudden we looked at the calendar and it was like, oh my gosh, it's in a couple months. And at that point it was like, whoa, it is here and we are in the mix of teams. And I feel like that's when it was like, whoa, this is real.
Yeah.
We can do this. Because I've talked about it, yes, dreamed about it for so long, but I think it was literally 2 weeks ago looking at the calendar and it was just like, oh my gosh.
I wish people could see our faces when we come to some realization or we look through the calendar, we're like, how did all of this happen?
Yeah, but just so excited. Oh my gosh. I think I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
What is the most challenging part about your training and progressing in the sport?
I think the most challenging is that, so obviously we're kind of one of the top teams a little bit. So making that jump to the next top team is very difficult. It takes that extra 1%. So finding little things, and credit to Drew, he does this for us, but trying to find that one little thing that may make a 1% difference is very hard when you get up into the elite. And sometimes in practice is very frustrating. I feel like you can for sure kind of relate or even touch on, but it is just there's not much room for growth. So trying to make it to that top and reach our full potential is very difficult.
Yeah. And it's frustrating because it would just be 1 or 2 points here or there that make you win or lose a game. And it's just the on-court decision or bringing your training back into the game. And yes, we train to do this all the time, but when you're in the moment, are you actually going to execute at that time? Or are you going to fall back and mess up a point or two and then you lose the game? That as you progress, that's all it takes is 1 or 2 points.
Oh, last question. What is TKN and where can people follow us?
TKN actually came from when we were living together back at LSU, and we were just kind of going through our names and we were trying to come up with an idea, and we shared a letter in our name, so Kristen and Kloth.
Come on.
So we had to figure out something that would incorporate that. So it's actually, TKN is Taryn Kloth Kristen Nuss, and we just share a K because we pretty much share everything at this point. We're like sisters now, which is kind of fun because I never thought that I could need another one, but I wouldn't change a single thing. Where you can follow us,
TKNball.com, that's our website. Has our schedule where you can buy shirts like this.
If you want to watch All the AVPs are on YouTube, and all the FIVB or international tournaments, they're going to be on the Beach Volleyball World app. We should probably add a link to that.
And you can follow us on
Social media,
Instagram, Facebook.
my Instagram, her Instagram.
I think you're like TKN.
Yep. And you're
Hey.
Kristen Nuss, I think. Kristen
Underscore Nuss. And you can follow our TKN Instagram page. And that's all we have. That's our 20
Welcome
questions.
to our show.
See you next time.
Okay.